lighting can turn a joyous, innocent-looking character into an ominous, horrific, evil antagonist. And lighting up the eyes enhances the character's expressions. What if lights can drive curiosity? I wonder what's that in the sky? Let's explore how we can use lighting to tell stories that will amplify the character's emotions right through the scene. Now let's get started in portrait lighting. Can you tell which one of these objects is actually a 3D sphere? It's hard to tell, isn't it? They both look so flat. It's hard to imagine one of them is actually a well-rounded 3D sphere. That's because we don't have enough lighting, or we don't have enough dynamic lighting. All I have here is a dome light that doesn't have any textures, and it's hitting the objects with the same amount of light on all angles, which is causing it to reflect back the same amount of light at all angles. Not very helpful. Now let me enable the area light, and we'll finally be able to figure out which one of these is the 3D sphere. Because the area light that I just enabled is only shining at both objects in one particular angle, the light bounces back directly on the surface of the 3D sphere, allowing us to see the different shading from the lighting. The infamous sphere light example. This is a very common example when you're studying lighting or rendering, because it describes the basic principles on how light reacts to different types of surfaces like curves, flat planes, hidden corners, or hole-like dents on the surface, all of which can be described through lighting. Using that sphere basic concept of how light describes the surface of a geometry, let's move on to something more interesting. So here's one of the examples taken from the clips from the intro video. Just gonna turn on XPU. Now I have two area lights here. One that's pointed at the top, and another that's from the bottom pointing upwards, both pointing towards the character's face. Now let's zoom into the character's face. You can see that there's a lot of soft light. Now this is really low resolution just because it takes a while to render. Actually, you know what? I can make this higher. And let it just render while I talk. So you can see that there's a lot of soft light, and that's coming from the top area light pointing downwards onto the face, giving all this soft skin and making the wrinkles less visible. But we still do see the shadows underneath the wrinkles, and that's what the bottom area light shining upwards is for. The bottom area light softens the shadows left under the wrinkles. This is similar to the 3D sphere example, where you see the area light is positioned again at the top, facing downwards onto the sphere. And you see that the top part of the sphere has softer light compared to the bottom half of the sphere that is a lot darker. But keep in mind, this sphere is a very different shape compared to this character's face, but we can use the basic principles to help us understand the lighting. I'm turning off the bottom one. So you can see there's a lot more shadows here. So these shadows are a lot darker now, since we don't have the area light on the bottom shining upwards, which softens these shadows. So this is known as like the Hollywood lighting, to really beautify even the best look of a character's face. Now let me put this back on. I know the effect may be a little subtle, but the shadows around the character's eyes are now less darker because I have enabled the bottom area light. This light, these are the parameters of the bottom light. And this one here, the one in this orange one, is the top light shining downwards. So the top light is a lot stronger than the bottom light. We're trying to soften all the skin and remove as much shadow as possibly can. Now let me try and ignore the top light. So before I ignore the top light, you can see that now that the skin is the shadows around these areas are a lot lighter because I've turned the bottom light back on. But the bottom light cannot be too intense, so don't crank it up too much. So you can see here it's an intensity of 1.3 compared to the top light, which is 5. So the bottom light you can't go too far Otherwise, it would just oversaturate the entire scene. You won't see much. So that's ignoring the top light. So you can see the bottom light is very soft. Now, if you remember from the video clipping at the beginning in the intro of this video, this sort of turns into an innocent look, from an innocent look into a horror sort of feel. So I'm just going to jump over to that. And what I've done here is just animated the intensity of both the lights. So now the top light here is much lower intensity. And the bottom light, I've increased the intensity to like 40. So you can see that there's more focus or more shadow, deeper, denser shadows. You can see a more clear shadows on the wrinkles now. So I can clearly make these wrinkles out. Now let's remove the top and see how it looks like. So this is just the bottom light. The top light doesn't do much because it's very, very weak. So most of the feeling is coming from the bottom light. That's what I wanted you to know. And I've also added, another note is that I've also added some color to the bottom light, just to give you a little bit more a horror feel. So it's a bit darker in comparison, but it was always dark. So if I go back to the beginning of this animation, which is the joyous, and turn on the top light, joyous, innocent look. This bottom light was always a dark color, a darkish color. It's not too dark. It's just that it was really low intensity, so you can't really see much of it. Okay, for the next example, eye reflection. So eyes can really take you into the soul of a character just by adding just a single light just for the eyes so that you can get that twinkle reflection. It'll really bring out the emotions and expressions of the character. This little detail really helps take the portrait up a next level. So I'm going to do a close-up on the face. Now this is a little low resolution just because I'm going to flip back and forth to show you that twinkle. I hope you can see that little reflection, that little twinkle in there. Now it really shows the emotion of the character out. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a snapshot. Okay, let's take a snapshot of this. Let me turn off the single light that I used just for the eyes. And I'm going to take another snapshot, just to really show you the difference between having that little twinkle in the eye. So this is with the eye reflection. This is without. So this is very soulless. This is like, it's a very different emotion. He seems sad, very empty. This here, he seems determined, very serious. So that little twinkle really it really makes a difference. And in Karma, there are a few tips I can give you in really bringing out that twinkle in the eye. When you add that extra light just for the twinkle of the eye. So here I added this one area light, and this area light is only affecting the eyes. And you can get that in Karma by adding a light linker. So this light linker will establish rules for all the lights. So let me just pull this out so you can see the names of the lights, and you click this. So you can see here I have this rule for the area light, which is this area light, and it's allowing names of the geometry of the eyes. So it's only allowing this area light 1 to affect these two geometries. And you can see here there's a check mark here. So anything in this box over here is excluded. It'll be the opposite. And if you don't have a rule, it'll just act as a normal light. So this comes in handy if you want that twinkle in the eye without having that light affect everything else. So let me show you what it looks like without this rule. So I'm going to ignore this light linker. Just give this a second to initialize. So I'm going to take a snapshot of this so we can compare it. Area light 1 that was contributing to the twinkle in the eye, and it's affecting the entire face. The area light 1 just focusing only on the eyes, so it's not affecting anything else. Sorry. So you can see that the twinkle is more accentuated. You can see the eyes are a bit more clear because there's a huge contrast between the rest of the face, since the rest of the face is not lit up as much. So sometimes we can use lights to really help us drive intrigue on things that are out of the camera shot and instead implied with lights. Sometimes we can use lights to really help us drive intrigue on things that are out of the camera shot, instead implied with lights. It can help describe the environment without actually seeing the environment, but only seeing lights. And instead, because the audience can't see the whole picture, it'll drive curiosity. I have lights shining on this guy, but you can't see what exactly he's looking at, but you can see a reflection of the light right on his forehead. So there's that reflection right there. And I also want you to notice the twinkle in his eye, that reflection. It really, it sort of implies that there's something up it, like little Easter eggs all over his face from all the light reflection, but you don't know what it is. From his expression and from all the light reflection, you know it's something, or it implies that it's something big or dangerous, that something he's afraid of. Well, what is it? Is it an airplane? Is it a spaceship? What could it be? And why is he so scared of whatever is in the sky? I took this example and pushed it a bit further by animating the lights. So that had to be cached because animating takes quite a bit. So the lights are now spinning around his face, and I'm implying that there's something large that's surrounding him. It could be a vehicle with headlights, a helicopter that's chasing after him, or maybe even flashlights. Combined with the expression on his face, it really tells a story. And the purpose of all this is to grab the viewer's attention and enhance the atmosphere by implying another element in the environment. I find this to be really effective and simple enough to set up to get such an impact on the scene. I will be automating this light rig setup so that it'll be easier to use in an HDA format with hopefully a customizable pivot point to allow you to more easily rotate the lights. So in this scene, let me put this away. So in this scene over here, I have to turn this off as well. I'm actually using a trick. I'm placing the character right in the origin. So he's right in the center of the entire scene. The 0, point right here. So the 0, point right here. He's standing right in the center. And this just works out in terms of the pivot, because when I drop down a transform node, I'm transforming the lights. It just works out as the pivot is always the center. So right here, this transform is actually being animated throughout the entire scene. So you can see, it's still a bit laggy, that these two area lights are just rotating around his face. And that creates this animated effect. So you might be curious why this light, this one over here, is not moving. Now let me get rid of all the overlays. So why isn't this one moving? Well, this one is actually doing the twinkle, that eye twinkle. So it's the one that you see in the eye reflection with the little split the screen. Okay, so I'll split it like this. So that's that eye twinkle in there. That little reflection you see there, and that's caused by this light that's shining down on his directly in his face. That's where that twinkle comes from, and it uses that same technique of increasing the specular of that particular light. But since this light is pretty far away, I didn't isolate this light just for the eyes. So if I do turn it off, it is contributing to the rest of his face, but it's far enough that it doesn't contribute as much. So it wasn't necessary to use the light linker to isolate it just for the eyes. Thanks for watching and sticking to the end.